Do you have friends? If not, we want to hear from you because we have friends that we will sell for $19.99 per friend. Free shipping. No, today's topic is all about friendship groups, how important they are to us, the stereotypical roles in friendship groups. Sometimes friendship groups can be toxic, yada, 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 yada. I wouldn't be who I am without you girls.
Oh,
That's not true.
Well, I certainly wouldn't be. This is my first ever group of girlfriends since year 8, and I hated those bitches.
Yeah. No, I think, we're both in our mid to late 20s now, and we're really lucky because we've found a solid friendship group, one that we can rely on for pretty much everything, and if everyone else is being a dick in the friendship group, there's always one person that's going to step in and help.
Yeah, and it grew very much kind of organically. We all went to the same university, but actually it was quite fragmented at that time. Yeah. But after finishing university, through hanging out with one another, we all pulled together and...
Yeah, we have a friendship group and it's awesome. There's 6 of us and our group chat's called Anal and Alcoholics Anonymous. Yeah, but anyway, we all come together on this WhatsApp group chat, and not a day goes by when there's not a message or two going back and forth. Sometimes there's so many messages that I gotta mute you bitches and come back later on.
I looked at my phone just now and there was 32.
I know, they won't leave us alone. They know what we're up to.
We're the popular ones, and without us they're lost.
Totally. Thinking about friendship groups, there's so many, it's something that filmmakers and writers have talked about for years, and there's obviously loads of iconic friendship groups that we all can either relate to or just think that is awful, I would never want to be like them.
Yeah, so the girl group in a movie is quite a sexy thing, and one I thought of straight away is the Heathers, that cult classic where they're really awful to one another, and then it all gets quite murderous.
Yeah.
And I think...
to the extreme.
But I think that's one example where girl groups, especially their schoolgirls, is almost seen as kind of this quite sexy murderous backstabbing clique. It's kind of like a male fantasy. I think that there's lots of beautiful women that hate one another,
and it's a super common vein in filmmaking when the topic of female friendship arises, and you can see it again in Gossip Girl with Blair and Serena, who have this really toxic frenemy sort of friendship. Mean Girls, we all wanted to be them at some point when we were younger, but at the same time you grow up and you're like, I'm so glad I'm not dealing with that shit anymore.
Yeah, no, completely. I mean, I remember people really trying to imitate Mean Girls. And Regina George was seen as an icon.
Yeah. She was ruthless, beautiful, powerful, confident, popular, everything you want to be when you're younger, and yet she was horrible person. And she just fought her so-called friends off one another.
And young women have often been portrayed as this. Actually thinking about it, it sort of reminds me of The Crucible, which is a fairly old play.
But then that you're right, it goes back, hundreds and hundreds of years.
A sexy,
witch hunt.
Manipulative, sexually precocious young woman is always this fantasy character.
So why are we as young women, impressionable young women in our teenage years, watching these shows where we essentially want to aspire to be these horrible cunts,
and
basically.
They're not catered for young women, I think, is the answer.
No, and you know what? And although they're not very real, a lot of these films that we watch, like Mean Girls, The Heathers, I mean, no one's going to go around murdering people at their high school and getting away with it. But then you've got stuff like Girls, for example. They are absolute dickheads to each other as well.
Yeah, but that was quite real. I think
it was real. So it's still an issue. It's still a thing. Mean Girls in real life.
I mean, there's a kernel of truth in it, in that when you're in a friendship group, occasionally people piss you off, but the right way to deal with it is not to form this kind of bitchy, immature response.
Or kill each other. Or sleep with each other's boyfriends. Can you imagine if we fell out with someone in our group and then we were like, well, fuck that bitch, I'm gonna sleep with her boyfriend and I don't give a shit, and then they wouldn't be talking to you again. You wouldn't be friends 6 months down the line they show you in the TV shows and the movies. It's not like that. It's not real life.
I mean, there are some friendship groups, girl groups portrayed that are nice, like Sex and the City.
I was going to say that. I think that's a really solid example. No matter how old that show gets, I feel it's still really relevant with the dynamic of different personalities, women of an older generation that are getting on, and it's so real because they fall out they dislike each other, but they're always there for each other. And I think that is the crux of a true friendship group. You can piss each other off, but you're not going to go to the extremes. And
movies that pit women against one another, I think this is a thing that we're struggling so much to get away from, is the idea that pitting women against one another and that kind of bitchy...
It's game. It's like game for the...
And it happens all the time, and it doesn't. Women wouldn't have friendships if this was the dynamic of the friendship.
Which kind of leads us on to the idea of toxic friendships. And like, I think we've all had them. Maybe I've been a toxic friend once and someone's deleted me from their life. You know, it's about knowing when something isn't really good for you anymore and letting it go.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a toxic friendship you've just deleted?
I've had a few. My best friend when I was a teenager, I had a kind of girl friendship group, but then I made friends with this girl and it was very much just the two of us. Like, we were stuck side by side. We were 16 years old. And that friendship was kind of great from the inside, but it was a very bitchy friendship, not towards one another, but almost like towards everyone else. And that friendship kind of was really holding me back in a way, and that it kind of ended over jealousy, to be honest, because we both got boyfriends and we were kind of hanging out with different groups of people. I'd want to do this, she'd want to do that, and because our friendship was sort of so based on the idea that we were a twosome and we did everything together, it crumbled under the idea that there was going to be new things in our lives.
You know, that's something I feel really strongly about, actually, having moved around for most of my childhood and having friendship groups all over the world and, like, you know, moving schools a lot. I've never really held on to any friendships from my youth. And I know a lot of people that have these friendships that they've known these girls for 19 years and they feel the pressure to get together and hang out, even though none of them give a shit anymore. And it's almost like, just let it go. Like, I honestly don't think time is a good enough reason to stay friends with someone.
Oh, no.
I think if it's baggage or it doesn't serve you anymore, you should just delete it and move on.
Yes,
there's no harm in it. People have done it to me and I've done it to other people.
I don't know if people have done it to me. Obviously, I haven't noticed, which if they have, which is quite good. But I did have a friend I'm not speaking to anymore, not because she's not a great person, but because it ended up being very one-sided, this friendship. They would always get involved with other people, like romantically, and I would be cast aside. And I knew it was at an end. I kept going home to where my parents lived, and I'd try and arrange to meet up, and they would just never be free anymore. Not because they were doing anything in particular, but they'd just rather be with their partner.
Yeah.
And then I knew that it was at an end when she got a kitten with her new partner. And I came back, excuse me, and I came back to see her and hopefully see this cat, and she didn't have time for me to see the kitten, and I just thought, fuck this, like, you know how much I love baby animals, like, if you don't have time for me to come and see this kitten, then it's over.
Done. It's done. And, you know, do you feel bad for it?
No, she messaged me kind of recently on Instagram and I've just ignored it and I don't care.
I mean, that's it. And I think it takes a lot of strength to just admit that something's over and that it was what it was, and there's no longer, like, why waste your time with something that literally there's nothing there anymore apart from memories.
Have you ever been deleted?
Yeah, I've been deleted. Who was I deleted by? Funnily enough, I was deleted by someone I really didn't give a shit that I was deleted by. But, like, I think then, like, good on her for making the move, because she was the one that essentially cut the umbilical cord or whatever, the friendship bracelet, shall we call it, and none of us care. And I actually deleted her off Instagram the other day because I didn't care to see what she was doing anymore. It was clogging up my feed. Sorry, bitch.
I'm so irritated by your day to day that I have to delete you.
No, but it's not so much irritation. It was just I was bored. She was an old flatmate of mine, and she was great. Like, such a lovely person. We got on so well. You know when there's, like, housemates and then there's, like, friends, and then you, like, leave the house and you're trying to make an effort to see this person, but it's like you're only trying to just live up the fact that you spent so much time together, and you're thinking it's a friendship when really you were just cohabitants, like, whatever.
Did she tell you she deleted you?
No, it was just, you know when you, like, make arrangements that you know you're never going to keep, and then it was like, oh, I'm free next month, and she was like, actually April, and then it was June, and then it's Christmas, and you haven't said Happy Christmas to each other, and then it gets to the point when you're like, it's not even a thing anymore.